Hi guys, we're back because I realized I forgot to tell you guys how to piece these together before we start our new row off again with diamonds. So it's pretty straightforward. It's basically the same idea as when we first did our first row of hexagons all the way down. All we have to do now is just close these together, and then we go ahead and start adding on the triangle, then the diamonds, and so on and so on. So this should be the last thing you guys would need to learn how to do to get the rest of your quilt top finished, aside from doing the border at the end, which I will post a video on down the road when I get close to finishing my quilt. All right, so here we go. Basically, I'm going to be sewing the green one and the cheddar colored one together. So the darker thread of the two is obviously the green. So I'm going to fold this over, okay? Make sure that the two hexagons are lined up very well. Okay. We're gonna tuck in that string, like how we weave it in before starting the beginning of every new color. Okay, so let's get this weaved in first. So I'm gonna go this way. And remember, again, you're not going through the paper, you're just weaving through the top edge of this fabric. Okay, now that we're close to the edge there, we're going to sew these together. I'm going to just double check that it's lined up here, which it is. You need it to be perfectly lined up, okay? Well, we're going to start sewing this together now. Remember, you're just catching a tiny bit of the fabric at the top of both of the pieces of the hexagons. I'm going to pull that through, and we're going to continue on. And also, in the previous episode, we briefly spoke about how quilters played a really important role during the Civil War times. I've got a really great book that shows you how to do a lot of the Civil War blocks to make a sampler quilt. And a sampler quilt is basically a quilt that's done usually with sewing machine, and that have different styles of quilt blocks. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this aside for 1 second to show you what a quilt block is. These are quilt blocks. Okay, so basically I sewed these at a previous point. These were done by a sewing machine. Okay, but as you can see, it's a lot of work. All these pieces had to be ironed 1/4 of an inch perfectly all the way through all my work, as you can see. In the middle, I like to flatten it with the iron in here because it gets quite bulky when you've got a lot of stitches going in the, like, ending at the middle of the blocks. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but trying to get the light on it. But basically, like I was saying, I open it up in the middle of each where there's a lot of points coming, and I iron it flat because like I said, I find it gets really, really bulky, and it will be noticeable on your quilts if you don't do it this way. Okay, so this is a quilt block again, guys. That's one done that I did. Here's another one similar to it. It's another quilt block. So when I'm saying quilt blocks, that's what I'm referring to. You do a number of these in order to make a quilt, and you then, if you want to put a spacer in between them, or you could join them the way they are, like, but I wouldn't do it that way. I'd probably do it like this. You'd want to line all the pieces up again. It's always very important that all your pieces measure up the same. Because like I said, if you're off on that 1/4 of an inch, even a little bit, your whole quilt gets thrown off. So there's the quilt blocks I was talking about. And this book by Barbara Brackman, she does a really great book on, like, there's 50 different quilt blocks in here that they used during the Civil War times to help, like I was mentioning, to help free people who were enslaved. And it basically gave them instructions on where to go, where the safe houses are. And each block has a story from history about it. So it's an interesting book. I'd recommend it. You could probably get a digital copy of this online. I will include this in my comment section, so that if you guys are interested in purchasing this book or looking it up, you're more than welcome to. All right, let's get this finished so that way we can get on with finishing our English paper piecing quilt. All right, I'm going to continue on sewing this top together. And the reason why you don't want to stick the needle in through that paper, you just want to be catching the fabric, is because when you go to take out the hexagons, it's a lot harder to rip out the hexagons when you've put them through the needle. It's a real pain in the butt to try to get the hexagons out when you've sewn through them. Because these are the stitches that you can't cut off. You want these stitches to stay in place. It's only the basted stitches that you're taking out. And then once you do that, because you did not put any stitches through the paper, these will come out quite easily. Okay? And then the paper piece, you can literally reuse your hexagons and your diamonds if you didn't ruin them by sewing through them with when you're sewing the edges together. And again, like I said, guys, I'm self-taught, so I may be doing things differently than you know, some other seasoned quilters. I've been quilting for probably close to maybe 10 years now. I started when I was really young, living out in the country, nothing to do. You get pretty bored. And my mom was very crafty, and she taught me some basic stuff, but quilting is something that I've actually been teaching her how to do. It's kind of fun, actually. She's great at making clothes, she's quite seasoned when it comes to sewing clothes and making clothes and outfits and whatnot. I'm not as good at that as she is. Maybe we could get her to do an episode on how to sew on a zipper or something like that. Alright guys, getting close to the edge again here. It's starting to tangle on me, so I'm going to drop this and let it unwind. You see it spinning on me there. And that should prevent it from further tangling up on me. Alright, now I can get the end of this finished. Now, if you guys do decide to order Kansas Troubles fabric for your projects, let me know, and I can send you the link to, not the link, sorry, but I can send you basically the brand and SKU number on each of the threads that I've used for this particular quilt. And again, like I was saying, it doesn't matter which of the Kansas Troubles quilters line you get. In fact, mine, I've got probably about 5 different lines I'm using on this quilt. So, like I said, it doesn't matter if you're using the same line of fabric, or if you're using multiple lines by them, they all will match. That's the great thing about Kansas Quilters Troubles, is that all of their fabrics, even though there are different prints on the fabrics, all the bases are the same color. So it'll be the exact same color threads. So if you guys need to know what the names of the threads are that I got for the Kansas Troubles that I found match up the best, just hit me up in the comment section and I'll message you guys. All right, we're getting really close to the edge here. We're just gonna now close this off at the tips. And we're right in the edge. We're just gonna knot that. Knot it again. All right. I'm going to do a 3rd time. I always like to do it at least 3 times just to make sure it's not going anywhere. And then we're going to weave that thread in to hide it. All right, let's get this going. Actually, I'm going to go down this way. Okay, remember, you're just picking up a little tiny bit at a time, pushing it through, dipping in, pushing it through. You just want to weave that in good so that it doesn't go anywhere. Not likely to come out down the road either. Okay, pull that through, make sure it's snug. It is. Okay, we're going to trim that off. Open it up and show you what it looks like. Put that in a spot where I know where it is so I don't end up sitting on it later. That won't feel too good. Alright guys, I've already sewn this top one together. Now what we just did together was this one here. Okay, and as you can see, you can barely make out the stitches. Alright, so keep on going guys. For here, for example, I would be using a red one because it's the darker shade of the two. You're just going to keep doing that. You're going to fold it down. You're going to go ahead, weave in your red thread, stitch it across to the corner. Make sure it's really tight. I do like a triple knot on the corners, like always, just to make sure that they're not going anywhere. And yeah, you keep going down the row, down the line, and again, this one is also the darker color is the red again, so you'd use the same shade of red to close this one off. Down here, this is more of a black, so we're going to use black thread to close this together. You get the hang of it, you get the idea, guys. So keep going through your quilt like that. And once you're done these, you can go ahead and attach your triangle to here, your diamond to here, and so on and so on. You guys have basically learned how to do all of this now, and you should be able to do most of your quilt top. Once I get to close to finishing mine, I'll show you guys how to finish it all off. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. There's going to be a lot more videos to come. Thanks for watching and being patient with me. That's the end of this episode. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.